People driving by. Okay, so today is April 9th, 2022. I need to go crack my back because I'm having some back pain right now. I can't stand it. If my vertebrae is not aligned properly, then I am very disgruntled. And even when I was trying to crack my back laying off the edge of the bed in the jail cell in Garland County, one of the officers kept coming by and telling me, don't do that, don't do that. Like they had a fear that I was going to fall off of it or I was trying to hurt myself. In actuality, I was helping blood flow to my head, to my brain. And it was actually really beneficial for me. I wasn't trying to harm myself. So the fact that they were forcing me to submit to something that was detrimental to me, then it was really confusing because, and that woman actually, one of the officers that had to keep doing that one of the days to tell me, like, don't do that, she quit her job. She quit her job as a correction officer. So, as she told me before she left, because I made her cry, apparently. I really altered her frame of reality because I had built a noose in the jail cell with my sheets and hung it up. And I told her, and I explained to everyone, that if somebody really wants to truly do that, they would do it. They would find any means to be able to harm themselves because I was being forced into a state of disillusion. People weren't seeing it from my perspective, that I was just trying to reach out to see my daughter. My phrasing is always weird. I'm actually extra poetic and extra, cynical sometimes or sarcastic, and people don't get that through writing. They don't understand engage with full emotions sometimes with writing. So that's why I started making videos too, so people would realize I'm actually not that deranged to kill people, but I say it all the time because it's part of, like, millennials growing up. That's how we were informed on how to relay our emotions. So so I went and made myself happy with some vegan ice cream shake. And I can't help it. I love sugar. And I know I shouldn't love sugar so much, but it gives me a high, and I know that makes me crazy. And then I act all crazy and then pass out. And like my body is just trying to work through all of the chemical compounds like sugar and everything, the glucose and all of that. A lot of it is we're not meant to be exposed to this much sugar, and it alters our microbiome in our stomach, like all of the different bacteria that are in our lining, our intestinal lining and everything like that, the types of bacteria that break down. So like people that are in Africa or say like India or some other places that don't have access to refined sugars, their microbiome is different than ours because, they have different ways of breaking it down. So sugar is not necessarily the best thing for us. Neither is caffeine, neither is any of these other additives. And I noticed when I don't drink much caffeine either. When I drink caffeine, I get hyped the fuck up. I even had a boyfriend before my ex-husband that gave me some like caffeine pills, and I didn't realize it, and I started freaking out and was like really messed up. And he was like, "Are you all right?" I was like, "No, I'm not all right." Like in my whole life, I've not had access to things like that. We were raised very poor, and my family, we ate things like beans all the time, beans and tortillas. And so for me, I was like, having to rationalize the differences in my microbiome, my digestive tract, the things that I eat, as well as exercise, and rationalizing like, oh shit, you haven't had a lot in your life. You need to focus on your health because that's going to help you with your mental health overall. But of course, when you go to therapists, they talk about mental health as if it's separate, and that's not right. It's all of our body. It's everything, our digestive system, our different organs, everything that compiles into affecting our mental health in our brains and the chemistry balance in there, and everything, the differences in chemical imbalances. So anyway, I shouldn't be having this much sugar. This is my second shake. Yes, I don't give up that they were $8.75, 2 of them each. I don't care. At this point, I'm snapping. If I don't get enough money, I don't care. I'll just go sell myself to the next fucking hobo that I come across. I just don't care. So I'll find my money. I'll find my money for my fancy vegan food. I don't care. I'm over it. Like, if that's the only thing I demand in this life to get me by through all of the goddamn stress and also the weed that I have, weed should be covered under my insurance. And I informed my insurance of that. They should definitely start covering it, because when it's, legalized federally, because you make so much money off of it, you might as well. And people aren't that fucking deranged. People are actually a lot more calm when they're on it. So there's your way of people, following in your foot, or following suit, and what is it? Excuse me, being submissive and control, being able to be easily manipulated and controlled. So, and that's just it. Everything is a ploy to keep us as a consumer to something and keep us addicted to certain things, and sugar is one of those things. And, but chocolate is so good. And I don't mind like dark chocolate either. Chocolate, just in general chocolate. I've been craving a lot more protein in this pregnancy though. I did notice that, and I knew right away that it was a boy, because I was like, I'm having even worse side effects when I'm having too much sugar. So when I was eating a lot of extra protein and everything, oh my God, this cute woman, she is so adorable. She's over there dancing in the little, what is that called? She's dancing over there. She's got a very colorful top, and she's got a skirt on, and she's kind of heavy set, but she's adorable. She's very pretty. She's got long hair, and she's dancing. That makes me happy. That makes me so happy. I want to dance with you. Anyway, my video, I'm feeling better from last night. Obviously, I know my reality. Obviously, I know that I just have to sort of make it here and there, but it's very depressing having to be informed that I'm always incorrect, that I have to think positively through the negative, and I'm like, okay, whatever. That's just how it is, right? So I've just got to force myself into a positive state, and that means sugar. Shit, I don't know. And smoking weed, because shit, I just don't know. And overdrafting my account so I have enough money so I could last myself the rest of the month. Also, my insurance isn't going to get paid. Hey, officers, guess what? I won't have insurance for my car. So you know. Wink, wink. There's a reason for you to pull me over now. Here's your evidence. Here's your incrimination right there. I won't have insurance come the next couple weeks. So it'll be an easy target. And then all of a sudden I'll get pulled over for no reason. And they're going to ask for my insurance, because I never get pulled over. I never do shit wrong. Even when I'm on my phone or whatever, or having to manipulate things all in conjunction or eating, I maintain my vehicle, because I always make sure that I have a lock on the steering wheel and I'm in a safe location and going generally in like a straight, destination, whatever, straight, whatever that's called. I'm so distracted by these ladies kissing on each other. It's nice. Love is nice. So anyway, PDA. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. They weren't making out. They were just like hugging on each other. Anyway, why do I find the silliest things so funny and hilarious? I took some pictures of some things today. I'm going to post on my Facebook just because I came across them in one of the shops and I thought they were hilarious. And I have a dark sense of humor because I've lived through a lot, and my sarcasm, most people don't get it because they've never lived through hardships. So then they think that I'm deranged because I feel as though I have to laugh off those dark instances, or, I tell everyone I'm cynically optimistic. And I really wish I was just optimistic, but oh my God, little twins. Oh my God, little girl twins. They're so cute with their little jumpsuit things. Oh my God. I'm going to have a little boy, though, and apparently those are less expensive, and I'm hopeful that I'll be able to keep it still, and I'll have a home for it when it comes out, but I'm trying to stay in that frame of mind, but don't be pissing me off. Big girls in dresses, That's cute. I like it. I like everybody's shape and size. I think that's nice. Everybody's got a unique feature that I enjoy about them. Always. Like, there's always something that I like about people until they piss me off and I'm like, your personality sucks. Get away from me and you have ugly features. Because I want them to rationalize, like, get over yourself. Who do you think you are? This lovely man at the WIC office, you know, he was you know, kind of flamboyant. And I'm sure that he gets a lot of people that don't like that because it's the South. I had to come back through so I could pick up, you know, this is days ago, whatever. But I was just letting you know, relaying that. Like, I enjoy people's flamboyancy. I don't mind if they're living up to that. If you're gay, that's cool. That's awesome. Like, who cares? Like, if you're searching for love and that soulmate that is the same sex as you, then that's proper, in my opinion, because there's a lot of things that have gotten altered in this frame of reality. People don't realize in the Roman era, that's what they did all the time was, you know, orgies and whatever, and doing each other, and, you know, homosexuality was very prevalent back then. And so I don't really mind anything of that nature. I am not opposed to anybody just living their life and being themselves. I think that's awesome, as long as you're not impeding on others people's spaces and violating them in the process. So, especially physically or psychologically, to the point where it's like you're manipulating the individual. So, anywho, and you see a lot of couples around here that are same sex, and I enjoy that. I think that's so fun. But anyway, so like I was saying, I like traveling to big cities, and they're so much fun. There's a lot of like craziness going on, and not a lot of it, the drug use. I do not condone using hard drugs or anything. I think that's really bad for you. But people don't even realize that caffeine is a drug. People don't realize that. And they don't realize that over-the-counter medications are drugs. And those drugs can damage your liver. And like my mother, she's got ulcers, crazy amounts of ulcers, and she can't seem to get rid of, because of the fact that she had all of these additives and these pharmaceuticals and over-the-counter medications to try to help her with her pain. And she didn't realize that her pain was mostly psychological. And that's what caused the physical ailments within her body. And so, and like the reason I made this video is because my mother has disclosed things throughout our life together that I always tried to console her about. And apparently I was just enabling her to abuse me more. And instead of her taking out her aggression on the things that were supposed to be taken, you know, she didn't see that as irrational at all. So my one brother, the one that molested me, he had apparently for a couple years or so there, when he was going really crazy, and I'm so glad that I never like woke up to him being on top of me or something like that. I think he's just a pussy. He knows that I would have probably slit his throat at that point. But because I was very aggressive growing up, and everyone said that it was me, but it was me defending myself from the abuse. So they put me on pharmaceuticals, and I said Xanax in one of the videos. I didn't mean that. As a young child, I was forced on Zoloft, and it went from 25 milligrams to 50 milligrams to 100, and as you know, maxed out at the top of whatever I could get of Zoloft, because my mother kept informing the psychologist that I was being violent toward my siblings. And my mother kept informing them that, you know, I wasn't doing well and I was still suffering through depression, and I had no reason to be depressed because I got everything I wanted. And she didn't realize that the sexual abuse was something I didn't ask for. You know, in her mind, she believes that it was okay still. She still, to this day, is in denial of everything. And my mother told me one time, not even just one time, she's told me a couple times, and that's why it seeped into my consciousness. She said that my older brother, the one that's a year older, Augustine Glenn Servin, the one that molested me, that he had asked her to have sex with him a couple of times. And I'm just as shocked as you are. What? My mother, who loves this man, now that he's an adult, now that he's a 35, 36-year-old, going to be 36. Still cooks him meals, still does all of these things for him, loves to spend time with him, coddles him, slaps on his face and tells him blah, blah, blah. She is so proud of him. She is so proud of him because he went off and got some, he tried to take aviation courses so that he could be a pilot. And he ended up getting a DUI at one point. But she is so proud of him. And she, and he used to go party and do cocaine and do all, drinking and driving, obviously. And then he ended up getting it like expunged from his record or whatever, hoping that he'd be able to be a pilot still. But I don't think that panned out. So he ended up going and he was working for like some type of FedEx or whatever, UPS or some shit like that. I think it was FedEx. My mother was so proud of him because he was financing her. He was making so much money. Whereas like I snapped years ago and I was like, I'm over it. Money, what's that? Apparently that makes you crazy. Apparently seeking money makes you crazy. And if you have money, you can get away with doing all these, deranged deviancies. I think that's a word, right? Yeah, deviancies. Where it's like, what? Like you literally want to fuck your mom and you're going around and you're making more money than me and you're sustaining yourself better than me, and my younger brother allowed you to move into his house and chose you over helping save and protect his younger sister, or his sister. Well, I am the younger of his two sisters, but he is the youngest. So my one brother, Israel, one day I got out of jail and everything, and I was going around and I was knocking on the, trying to go to my mom's house because I just gotten out of, it was the psych ward at that point when I was staying with my mom. And when I came back and I was like seeking some help, somewhere I could rest, because it was, I'm not sure if it was cold or what, but I knew that it was like I needed help. Like I didn't have anything. I couldn't get access to my car. At that point, I didn't have my car, so I walked all the way to my little brother's house, knocked on the door. He said, "What are you doing here? Get the fuck off my property." And I was shocked. I have never done anything to my younger brother aside from protect him against others. One time he was getting picked on at Turner High School, and I was picking him up because he was in elementary school there in Beloit, Wisconsin. And one of the kids came up and was picking on him, and I saw the shit. So what did I do? I went up to that little pussy-ass bitch that was talking shit to my little brother, and I told him, I was like, if you ever come up to him and you bully him again, and I picked him up by his fucking throat, and I shoved him against the wall of the, right outside the school, and I was like, if you ever, don't even look at my little brother, you piece of shit. Because my little brother had never done anything to me. I was forced to continue to wash his hair in the shower while he was showering until he was like 10 years old or so. Because my mother told me, he needs help washing his hair. He doesn't know how to do it himself. You've got to go down there. You've got to help him. So of course I was fully clothed, but I would use my nails and I would scrub his hair for him because my mother told me to. Because, at that point, I don't remember how old I was. Let's see, 4 years older, so I was like 16. Having to be forced to, 14, 16. And this lasted, I was very abused as a child. I was always made to do my mother's chores. I was always made to do all of the things that my mother didn't want to do. So the fact that, and then she disclosed that about my older brother, and my older brother is sitting there being consoled by my younger brother that I protected and loved. But my little brother thinks that I was crazy because all growing up I told him, I said, I wish you were gay. I hope you don't, have the issues that Daddy has, or Augustine has. And he always thought I was crazy because and we used to play together. We used to have, he was the only friend that I had, my littlest brother, Israel. And that's the sad part, is that I never wanted to talk about him on these videos. I never wanted to slam him or bash him in any way. Even to this day, he's still a virgin. And that is amazing to me because, keep it, as long as you're not hurting anybody else. That made me so proud to know that he had become an otaku. And instead of, not that he was proud that he's an otaku, no, I wish he would be more social, But the fact that he didn't have good, he didn't have, what is the word? I'm so sorry. He didn't have very positive role models. He looked up to my brothers, and my one brother, the one that's 2 years older than him, Angel, went to prison when he was young. And then everybody was always, you know, chirping in my littlest brother's ear and whatever. And the fact that I disclose these things and they're public knowledge shouldn't be an issue. So the fact that I disclose all of these things, and if they lie about it, I don't give a fuck. Just because I was told these certain things, just because I'm the one that has to mentally deal with this shit, now I'm not the only one. Now my therapists all know. They've known since I was a child. And even when I was a child, my mother used to tell me, if you tell them anything, you know, and my father would say the same thing, if you tell them anything about our lives that are, you know, that would incriminate us in that way to get them put in jail, we're going to kill you. So I was like, oh shit, you know, like, damn, like, I don't know what to think anymore. Like, my life is shit. I'm just glad that I, you know, have a place over my head. I'm glad that those moments I can go to the school to be away from these crazies. I'm glad that I can go, you know, by the time I was high school age, I sort of like demanded of my parents that I should be able to socialize outside of school. So I got myself a boyfriend, and I got myself friends, and I forced myself to go out with them because I was like, I'm not going to ruin my life because of these people that tell me that they're going to kill me in my sleep, you know, tell me that that they're going to kill me in some form or another, and have physically assaulted my body numerous times. And Israel has never done that. But when he told me to get off of his property 1.5 years ago, when I was homeless and didn't have anywhere else to go, and I said, I can't, you know, mommy's not talking to me, nobody's talking to me, I can't get my keys, I don't have my phone, can I use your phone? And he said no. He said, I'll call and leave a message for mom, but, you know, you can't use my phone or any of that, because he didn't want to get in trouble for pirating a bunch of stuff on his. He didn't want anybody knowing about his shit either, as he pirates videos and whatever in anime and video games and everything. My brothers have always done that stuff. But that's normal. That's completely normal. Most people do it, but not to that extreme. I mean, of course, I understand that they've done some really shady shit, and that's why I'm not allowed to be around the family anymore. I'm not part of the family. And I'm so glad, because my mother used to call me the black sheep all the time. There's no reason for me to have to harbor these secrets anymore. I'm glad I'm away from that nonsense. I'm glad I'm away from my nasty mom wanting to fuck brother, and my mom who thinks it's okay that my brother asked that and still never reprimanded him for it. Instead, loved him more because of it. I wouldn't doubt that they've already slept with each other. I would not doubt that. My mother's a very lonely woman. My brother's a really sadistic individual. I would not doubt that my mother and my older brother have fornicated, as well as my brother Angel, because when he was around my mom and she was touching him and stuff, I thought that was really weird. And even my boyfriends have always told me, even my one ex-boyfriend, the one that was kind of crazy and fed me a lot, but he was sweet, he was kind-hearted, because he was very mentally slow and I didn't know that. But he was actually very kind-hearted, and he told me, he was like, I don't want to be around your mom ever again because she was touching my butt while we were around her. And I was like, I'm very sorry, like, I didn't realize. And then he was like, but my mother has always been overly flirtatious to the point where she's physically assaults my boyfriends and stuff. And I didn't even know that. Like, at first I was in denial of it, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll still have a relationship with my mom, I'll try, like, that's how it works, right? That you've got to be kind to your parents. And then I realized, fuck that noise. Like, then she's not my parent. If she's gonna mistreat me like that, there's no parent out there that I would consider a real, true, loving parent that does this shit to their kids. So, like, after a while, I had rationalized all of that. I wanted to relay it for you. I love using the word rationalize now, and I'm going to use it excessively just because that guy hated it. So, because he doesn't know what the definition is, apparently. And someone else shared one of my videos, but I just don't care. I didn't even go back and read whatever commentary bullshit he has for it. stupid. If they're blocked, that means their accounts are fake, which means that they're not just even like, it's no one to me. Absolutely no one. It's a fake person. And like that way, like fake even in their demeanor, if there's a real live person behind it. I don't care, because there's nothing they could physically do to me. And that's where it lies. Like, that's where I rationalize that. Rationalize. You know, rationalize. It was where I rationalize it. So, I'm going to start my day. Just going to go buy some more weed. I was down to my last bowl. I'm not stopping anytime soon. There's no reason to. There's really no reason to. And aren't there other states too where I can have my baby and still have marijuana in my system? Oh yeah, there are. Interesting. So just because some people have an opinion about it doesn't mean that other states don't allow it. That's all right. I'll go with those states that are more advanced, more, you know, understanding and more comprehensive as psychology and all this and that, and pharmaceuticals and medications. So that's why I say I do believe marijuana should be covered under my insurance, a certain dollar allotment for it, and then I could be able to access my medication without having to go broke, which has caused me to go broke because I had to pay for the medication as opposed to it being free through my insurance. All the Xanax bars, all the hydrocodone, all that was free to me. One time I sold a bunch of it, like $10 a piece or whatever. Why? It was my medication. You wanted to kill me off, and why can't I just openly and honestly say? And I've known people that sell pharmaceuticals that aren't their pharmaceuticals. There's also a difference there. I was trying to get those pills away from me because I knew the damage that they were doing to me, and I knew also the damage that they were doing to, like, my overall, just my physical well-being and my psychological well-being. So I was actually protecting myself as well as financing myself in order to pay for the real medication, which was marijuana. So if I don't end up getting compensated for something like that, I don't know what the fuck's going on in the world, because that's crazy. Like, I've literally gone broke just to stay alive in that way. And that shit should have been covered. My food should be covered. All this and that should be covered. My everything. Because I've been disabled for longer than I was actually given the allotment. So even that back pay that I'd gotten of like the $10,000, that didn't last me very long. I ended up fixing some things in my home and setting aside some money and taking care of things here and there. Do you think that's enough to live off of? No, it's not. So, like, for me, I'm just like, whatever. I make roughly that every year. That's it. And I've been able to manage. I wasn't doing shady shit. Sure, there was some things I did for cash, but god damn. I had to relay that shit about my brother and mom sleeping together. I was just disgusted. There's this incest in my family, and I'm so ashamed. So ashamed that I come from that. I'm so proud to be a black sheep. So proud. Never have I been so proud to prove everyone else wrong. And they thought that their mentality was just on point. And they made sure every system, every medical system, knew that I was crazy, because my mother went to all my doctor's appointments, and she was kind of like Munchausen syndrome. When I went in, I was not allowed to speak to the doctors. My mother did all the talking, and it's actually recorded in there, in all my documentation. And then when I found out about Munchausen syndrome, I realized that I was probably a part of that, like a slight part of that, because my mother is a hypochondriac as well, and I turned into one also, where I go and I get blood work as often as possible, and you know, this and that. I want to make sure everything's okay because I feel like I'm dying. I got it from my mom. What, you know, what else? It follows suit in the is it the I knew the words for this, but whatever, the X chromosomes, you know, and all that. So I do a lot of research just through documentaries mostly now. Some articles here and there, research and health articles, stuff. But I kind of know just basically how to survive in this day and age without having to defile myself or demean my body in such a way. And I've been helping myself grow, even like, and I try to share what I like, where it's like I lost 150 pounds doing shit like this, eating and drinking whatever I want, as long as it's vegan. And I try to, and I share that with everybody. Like, I didn't count calories, I overate, but as long as I was exercising too, there was a huge difference. And it wasn't just cardio. I started out with cardio because that was the easiest thing, because my body did not want to move. Believe me, I was in a very sluggish state after so many years of being inert. So when I ended up starting to move and everything, I just sort of like forced myself at first. 7 days a week I went to the gym. People know that. That's why they kept giving me props, and they were like very proud of me, because they knew I didn't burn myself out. At no stage have I actually burnt myself out. I'm exhausted now due to pregnancy, and I have to take breaks. I can barely breathe, and I sure as hell don't want to be getting up and doing cardio right now. Fuck that. You know, the elliptical is how I started. And I give my information freely because people need help. Like, the world needs help around us. And I tell people about, you know, recycling and all this and that, and how we're going to be able to help each other in the long run if we stopped using so much. We're all so privileged, and we don't even know it, especially here in the US. You know, as soon as I drink out of this cup, I'm going to throw it away in the straw. And it's like, what? And that's why I keep a lot of reusable things. And even yesterday, when I had gotten 2 different meals from a place, I said, I've got my own fork still. They gave me a secondary fork anyway, because they were just forgetful of that. And I'm just like, Jesus, like, I'm trying so hard. I don't want anybody to have their stuff stolen. Oh my God, their hair is so curly and cute. The little twin girls. Excuse me. So anyway, I am gonna go splurge on myself some more, because until the money runs out, I just don't care. Just don't care. I'm just gonna finance myself however I need to, and I'm not gonna sit there and beg anybody. And like I even said, I did a GoFundMe. Do you think I'm ever gonna see a dime on that thing? No. And mine's an actual real life, like, dire situation, life or death. You think anybody cares? No. And then everybody's like, oh no, you're demanding too much. If you already know this knowledge, then what the fuck? I was like, I know this knowledge. I cannot incorporate it because my mind is not there. Like literally. Like, I know this. I know what I should do. But I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm a honey badger. I just don't give a fuck. And I'm like, I'm very sad. I'm scared, because I'm scared of myself being overly, like, demanding, splurging too much, all these things, because I've snapped. I'm carrying a baby that I didn't anticipate to carry, and like, in a pandemic, and all this shit, and I have no, and my medical insurance has covered, like, the first birth. I paid for my daughter to be born. This birth, I have to pay for this baby. And I'm like, well, men are shit. Men are fucking shit. So, and like, I just had to relay about my mom and my brother, because it's been eating away at me for the last few days, and I haven't disclosed it to many people aside from like my therapists and whatnot, and then now you. And I'm like, good. I'm glad that there are more people watching my videos so that they can understand and engage, rationalize from where I'm coming from, engage from my reality, why I'm snapping and why I do the things that I do, why I say the things that I do, and why I just don't honey badger it up. Fuck you people. I just don't give a fuck. So, and I want to be happy. I want to watch, like, pop culture is one thing that I really enjoy. Having things that are, you know, funny to me and, you know, therapeutic in that way. So I've always kept up with a little bit of pop culture here and there. I have no idea what's going on in the media right now. Absolutely none. And people had known that, and they were like, how does she understand what's going on without having any interaction with some things? And I don't know. I really don't know. I just know sometimes that I'm super blessed in that way to be more intuitive than others. And I didn't realize that that was a thing until I started meeting more people. And I didn't know that intuition is another form of intelligence that some people just don't have. And I didn't know that until I started meeting so many different people in different states and engaging with certain people too through dating. And just the interactions have been interesting. I'm still trying to manifest that $1 million. Still trying to manifest that home. Still trying to manifest a nice safe place for my baby. I don't know about a partner though. If there's nobody that's like willing to be there for me during my hard times, and this is definitely a hard time. This is definitely, I'm not doing well. Regardless of my shake, regardless of me chilling, regardless of me sweating in the car right now because I'm just, lately I've been sweating profusely. I don't know what the hell, and I'm sitting in the sun, so the sun is like beaming down in the car back there, and I'm like, oh, it's fucking hot. I can't even take a nap right now. So, it's so dead. This one's called Pinnacle Trail. And they put coconut milk in it as the alternative. Vegan ice cream is so good. I went to Panera Bread the other day for like the first time. I got a plain bagel and slices of avocado. It was only like $3. And I was like, hell yeah. And I asked her, I said, do you have any milk? And she, like almond milk that I can get on the side? And she was like, well, we have plain milk. Well, we do have almond milk, you know, that we put in our drinks. I said, well, can I get a cup of that? And she was like, sure, I can do that for you. And I was like, fuck yes. So I had some almond milk with my breakfast. And I don't really believe in all those honeybees dying for the purpose of giving us almonds. They should have different ways of doing that. I know they try to utilize nature, but then I also saw a documentary about, you know, them harvesting maple syrup from trees, or, you know, the sap from the trees so that they can make maple syrup. And I'm thinking, oh my God, do you not realize that you're killing those trees, that you're taking their nutrients in order to feast? And those forests will be gone soon because you're killing those trees. And those forests of trees give us oxygen. Anyway, so maple syrup. Apparently it's what is the, what is it? It's worth the demand. I know that there's got to be some poetic thing I can say about it that's pretty funny about, like, you know, being so sweet and like depleting the earth in that way. That's just funny. I've got to write about that. Like, I guess it's worth the decadency. I don't know. I'll think about it. Sometimes it only takes me a moment to write. But then when I'm thinking and talking about things, I feel really awkward, and I'm like, I feel like I'm put on the spot. Like people are watching my brain work all at once, and I'm like, ah. I'm not all awake today. Anyway, I'm gonna get off of here so that I can start driving and stuff. I'm sweating balls over here. Literally, because there's a tiny set of balls inside of me. That is so funny. I knew I felt so weird. And the moment that it fucking happened, there was something weird about it. And I swear it's because it was like the opposite sex than me. You know what I mean? Like I had a feeling. I was like, what the fuck, you know? It's probably why my hormones are super fucking crazy and I'm like homicidal at this point. Not really. I'm not like really homicidal, but if I saw my abusers, and I wouldn't even just laugh at this point and walk away. It's gotten to the point where I would literally grab whatever sharp object I have around me and I would start just digging into their face and their neck and into their chest and into their back, especially like they've done to me, where it's like I had to harbor their fucking secrets forever. Yeah, you gotta always make sure that a weapon is just one arm's length away, especially as a woman traveling by herself. So you always have to have, you know, some type of pepper spray or something just right at arm's reach, because if you don't, you could end up getting hurt. So, and I want to take self-defense courses and then inevitably, hopefully, teach them along with all of this that's going on in my life. Utilize all these aspects so people can rationalize that they need to protect themselves against predators. Protect themselves because the authorities are not always there for you to back you up when these circumstances arise. So, yeah. And then you just have to make sure that when you've got your item, that you've got enough pressure, and you go for the soft spots, of course. So like the eyes and the neck and right in the chest. So, but the chest is the hardest spot. So always go for the neck first. And I try to explain to people, like, I understand a little bit about self-defense because I've noticed how my attackers have managed to get past in order to defile me, to violate my body. And so, like, that's why I tell people, like, and that's why the officers, I'm always very compliant. I have never fought back physically with any officers because I tell them, like, I already know there are some maneuvers that I could make that would get you to your fucking knees too, bitch. Especially the fat officers that I've dealt with. Like, you really think you want to go mano a mano with me? Hand-to-hand combat? I don't fucking think so. Especially if you didn't have your fucking gun and shit. And if I ended up, like, even my nails, that's why people are worried. And I'm like, I would be worried too, because just because I chipped a couple of them doesn't mean that the rest of them aren't hard as fuck, you know? And I've just been very blessed in that way. Men have grabbed my hands and they look at them and they're like, oh shit, yeah, this bitch would fight me. Yes, I would. So, and so, like, allowing Jason Wallace and that other guy, I was just horrified. And it wasn't even that I was, like, aroused even with the first guy. I was just petrified to the point where I was shocked. And I told him no many times. I was very worried he had some type of weapon. Very worried. Being from the military, those men are crazy. Motherfuckers. No, they get beat down when they're in training. No wonder they want to turn around and take it out on the next thing that's beneath them. You know, like the next, most, what is the word? Like, because they were belittled, they want to belittle something smaller than them, you know? Some type of weird mentality that these crazies have. But they're still allowed to be in those positions. Crazy. I told him no many times. I said, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. And like, and when they touch me in a certain way, it brings back that memory of like my father telling me I can't fight back, or like my brother, and that's where I freeze. So a lot of it has to do with me needing to recognize that no one is safe, and these men were never safe, you know? And like the father of this baby, whoa, just whoa. Like, your son is gonna be so fucked up mentally because you weren't there for it. But good for you. I bet you and your military men back each other for like, oh yeah, made another shit child. Hey, guess what? I fucked another whore. Hey, guess what? I've got kids, 50 fucking kids with a bunch of bitches everywhere. Nice. Good for you. So, like I said, I need to get off here. God, this is good. There's nuts in it and chocolate chips. So tasty. Okay, so anyway, there's a tiny dog over there, and I want to harass this lady so I can see if I can pet it. I don't see the problem. Most people are like, yeah, sure, you can pet my dog. I'm like, oh, thank you, I'm pregnant, and I love your doggy, and I need the love. And they also tell me things, which is weird. So anyway, oh my God, yeah, it's coming. I love everybody. Have a great day. April 9th, 2022. Leticia Collins Servin. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.